I'm sure that if you have any kind of social media feed, oop, excuse me, my goodness, that, yeah, you have FaceApp all over the place, everywhere. It's you can't get away from it. For instance, I started seeing it. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Another must-have app. Another app that's got people taking selfie after selfie and giving up their personal information. And I got to admit, some of it was entertaining, right? It looked cool. And I'll tell you what, my friends, a few of them, they got at me. They saw I wasn't going to do it, obviously. The FaceApp challenge. It's just like the 10-year photo challenge. All these challenges. But they got a hold of a couple pictures of me and threw it through their feeds and, sent it to me or whatever. And I get it. It's fun. It's a novelty. But guys, there are already mainstream articles out there from some of the biggest publications that it is jacking all of your info. Let me repeat that. Jacking all of your info. And if you've watched my stuff, whether it's Facebook, Google, Amazon, all that stuff, anything, and when I say Amazon, people running Kindle devices, okay? Fire sticks, etc., etc. Amazon Prime users, okay? Then, of course, Google, Android, very easy. Facebook, all the multitude of different apps and sub-apps inside, okay? And now FaceApp for both Android and Apple. And people are going wild with this thing. Wild. And it's taking all your metadata. Forget about just the facial recognition aspect of it. There's so much more, For instance, we did the story, I don't know, I think it's earlier this week now. It's so hard for me to tell since we do so many of them, where Google and Google Assistant, its home devices, its smart speakers, are constantly taping your private conversations, period. 100%. 100% in this track trace database society. That's what's going on, right? So that kind of brings me to this next thing that we're being sold by the hip cool guy, Elon Musk. He's got so many ideas. Elon, I remember even a couple years ago, all the, pro, alt conspiracy theories that Elon Musk was in the background saving the day and doing great things for this country. What? Yeah, he was interesting to watch on Joe Rogan. And I specifically remember the Neuralink part of that. Said at that point, got to be close to a year ago now, where he said, yeah, in a few months, we're going to break out Neuralink, and it's probably going to be, bigger than anybody thought possible. In other words, able to do things that nobody thought possible now. Well, DARPA and other, programs out there have been doing this stuff forever. For instance, one of the big things that they're bragging about, and by the way, if this was just wearable tech, I'd be less concerned. For instance, the military is now talking about controlling hives of small drones with your mind, but no chip necessary, no implant necessary, and it's by a wearable, okay? Yeah, that's frightening, but that's a lot less scary than in 2020. Musk is going to find a multitude of volunteers that are going to have 4 small holes drilled into the back of their heads, okay? Then wires attached through those holes into your brain, covered by a microchip that will then be used as to communicate via Bluetooth and your PC. What? For what? Why in the world would I want to go get a medical procedure done to my frickin' skull so that I could move a mouse and a keyboard? Okay? Or download information. I'm not Neo from the frickin' Matrix. I don't need to be. And, a lot of people are like, well, this is step 1. This is inevitable. We have to evolve. Look, the idea of transhumanism is a scary one. Technology can be used to both empower or enslave humanity. I get the idea of the brain chips for people who have paralysis, okay? That's old hat, old news. They were doing that, I believe, in the 1950s, okay? In the 1950s, they had the ability for somebody who was in a what appeared to be a catatonic state, but still had brainwaves and functions, to control a mouse and keyboard and communicate with the doctors around them. It's old news. Now, DARPA has talked about cortical implants over a decade ago for military use. They are placed, it's about the size of 2 stacked nickels, okay, and placed at the bottom or the base of the brain and the skull. Go check it out. In fact, later today, that's going to probably be one of my videos this evening, is going to be the Elon Musk breakdown of Neuralink and this new technology. And I'm sorry, but you would have to be a damn fool to be one of the people to get in on these trials where you're like, pick me, I want holes drilled in my head so I can use magic. And, you know, again, he states that we have to merge with machines to compete with artificial intelligence. He believes if man does not merge with some type of technology, AI will essentially overtake us and there's nothing we can do about it. Now, on the other hand of that, he's one of the few people that has talked about the real dangers of artificial intelligence. And there are real dangers, okay? But as far as I've seen right now, they've been completely overhyped. We're not even sure what AI is. Because of that, and because there seems to be a race for this artificial intelligence between nation states and corporations, it really does look more like the Mr. Beale conversation, where there are no nations anymore, Mr. Beale, and everyone's racing towards this thing called AI. Well, if you believe the Kurzweilian version of AI, artificial intelligence hits this point where it knows more than man, can do more than man, and again, we begin to merge with it or become extinct. You know, when you talk about the singularity, guys like Kurzweil fervently believe that not only will they live forever because of artificial intelligence, but he's talked for years about resurrecting his dead father through his memories. Let me repeat that. Kurzweil believes he's going to resurrect his dead father through his memories and other genetics, all right? And ultimately, at the end of this thing, we as human beings will no longer exist, and at any moment, at any time, we'll be able to travel the cosmos as a being of light that can then transmorph into just about any physical thing. Kurzweil's a smart guy. He currently is working for Google on a program to end aging. You heard me. A type of immortality program. And why not up with it? It's his dream. It's his life's goal. It's something, you know, forget about the fate of youth. This man thinks we can do it. And, you know, life extension technology, human regeneration technology. That's a reality, man. They've been doing things like that for quite some time. But when they begin to try to sell you on, you know, shedding your physical body, merging with machines, uploading your consciousness, they're selling you a lot of bunk. They're selling you a lot of bunk. A lot of things that I believe are dangerous. And that, again, doesn't mean that I don't think that the technology should be used to help people who need it. For instance, DARPA has done crazy work on paraplegics, people with actually no arms, where they're fitted with not only these prosthetics, but then it is controlled by their minds. All right? And that's not necessarily a bad thing. You know, the Luke arm is what they call it, because it looks similar to the arm that they give Skywalker after he gets his hand chopped off by Vader. You know, these things become more and more of a reality. And like we talked about yesterday, if you caught my bioweapons Lyme disease tick video, I discussed how, you know, human-animal hybrids are the norm in some cases at this point for high-level education. Chimeras are just another thing, and when they tell you, you know, we're going to grow a human organ here or there. Well, they're specifically making new types of species with spliced genetics, period. And, you know, I'm going to end it on this, you know, this whole storm Area 51 thing. Guys, let's be honest. Like, other than, you know, unidentified flying vehicles, right? And I don't think it's reverse engineered alien technology. I just think it's advanced technology, non-rocket technology. So you have that aspect of it, but more than likely with all the underground bases there, with how deep the tunnels actually go, with the kind of facility that is, you don't think that they're going to have human experimentation there too? Again, I'm reading that Annie Jacobson book, Area 51. It's excellent. And the majority of it is talking about experimental aircraft and, you know, the Cold War, Operation Paperclip, and all this very real espionage stuff. But at the same time, she talks about the Office of Atomic Energy and the human experimentation that they've done. And that they, more than likely, by the way, continue to do. You know, I showed you Bill Clinton apologizing in the 90s for the multitude of horrific experiments that took place on human beings through the atomic, or the Department of Atomic Energy. You know, talked about injecting plutonium into human beings. All right, and then years later, what else is he apologizing for? He's apologizing for the Tuskegee experiments, where black soldiers were injected with syphilis for experiments. I mean, how am I supposed to trust these people? And I don't think we should. And I think we live in a dangerous time, unfortunately. Even though we also live in a time of unprecedented knowledge sharing and positivity, in my opinion. You know, I don't like to be doom and gloom. For instance, the whole Epstein thing has been huge, right? They denied him bail. We can continue to win, but I don't think that we can keep being beholden to our own ignorance and allowing this type of technology just to push forward with us without us pushing back a little bit. And with that, guys, I think I'm going to exit. If you enjoyed this walk and talk, we do a lot more than just walk and talks on this channel. Make sure you subscribe, thumbs up, share it out there. I got a little GoFundMe going for this month. It's already being funded pretty well, thanks to you guys. And due to that, we're going to be doing 30 plus hardcore videos every week on subjects that actually matter, and ones that are either not talked about in the mainstream or to oblivion for the elitists out there. Guys, I'll see you all on the flip side.